The rusting ship in the junkyard. The desert wind howled across the metal graveyard, kicking dust into the air. Rusted starships, broken hulls, and shattered engines lay forgotten under the red sky. This place was called Sector 9 Junkyard, and it was where old machines came to die. Leo stepped out of his small hoverbike, looking up at the massive cargo ship he once owned. It had been 5 years since he left it here. The ship was old even back then, patched, burned, and barely flying. He had used it for cheap cargo jobs until one final explosion in the engine room made him abandon it. Now he was back, not to fly it again, but to take one last spare part. He checked the scanner on his wrist. Navigation core should still be intact, he muttered. That core was worth a fortune on the black market, more than enough to repair his current ship. Leo walked slowly across the rusted ramp, hearing the metal groan beneath his boots. The ship looked dead. No lights, no sound, just layers of sand and dust. But something felt off. He paused near the main door. The keypad, though dirty, looked clean. Too clean, like someone had wiped it recently. He pressed the code. The door hissed open with a loud creak. Darkness inside. Leo pulled out his flashlight. The beam revealed empty crates, fallen wires, and walls covered in dust. He walked forward, boots echoing with every step. He passed through the hallway toward the control room. He stopped. There were footprints in the dust. Small, light, not his. Leo crouched, touching the prints. "Someone's been here," he whispered. "Not recently, right now." They were fresh. Suddenly, a soft metallic clink echoed from deeper inside. Leo turned fast. "Hello?" he called out. "This ship's mine. I'm just here for a part. I don't want any trouble." No answer. He moved toward the sound, slow, careful, alert. He passed the crew lounge. Something strange caught his eye. A blanket was thrown over an old bench. Next to it, a half-empty water canister and a few food wrappers. Most shocking of all, a child's drawing was pinned to the wall with tape. It showed a simple sketch of a spaceship flying next to a red moon. A small figure stood waving from the window. Leo's heartbeat quickened. Someone's been living here. He backed away and reached for his stun pistol, just in case. As he entered the engine room, his light flicked to the right. A movement. Fast, silent, hiding behind the engine shell. Leo raised his voice. "Listen, I won't hurt you. Come out. I just need one part and I'll leave." Silence. Then, without warning, a shadow leaped from behind the engine. Leo's flashlight fell to the ground. A thin, hooded figure tackled him, knocking him to the floor. Cold metal touched his neck. It was a sharpened tool, held with trembling hands. Through the flickering light, he saw her face. She was young, maybe in her late teens. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing. Her large, dark eyes were full of fear. Her breathing was fast, shaky, and her voice, when it came, was soft, broken, and heavily accented. "Stay away, I fight. You go now." Leo didn't move. "Wait, you're an alien?" She tightened her grip. "No, come here. I live. You go." "I don't want to hurt you," Leo said calmly. "This is my ship. I left it long ago. I didn't know someone was here." The girl's hands trembled. Her lip quivered, but she didn't strike. She looked confused. "You human?" "Yes, my name is Leo." He slowly raised his hands. "I just want one part from the ship. Then I'll leave." She looked at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, she lowered the tool. But her eyes stayed locked on his. I know. "Go back," she whispered. They hunt me." Leo frowned. "Who's hunting you?" But before she could answer, a sound outside the ship made them both freeze. Footsteps, loud ones, and voices. Multiple people were coming toward the ship, armed scavengers, maybe even bounty hunters. Leo and the alien girl stared at each other in silence. The ship wasn't dead anymore. It was hiding a secret. She was hiding all along. The moment passed in silence, but the girl's wide alien eyes didn't blink. Her chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. Leo slowly picked up his fallen flashlight and stood, careful not to startle her again. She stood frozen, gripping the sharp tool like it was her only hope. "Are you hurt?" Leo asked gently. She didn't answer. "I'm not here to turn you in," he added. "I'm not a bounty hunter. I'm just surprised. That's all." Her eyes narrowed. "You speak soft. But you take me back?" Leo shook his head. "No. I don't even know who you are." She looked down, thinking for a moment, like deciding whether to trust him or not. Then in a quiet, almost broken voice, she said, "I am Zira." Leo noticed her clothes now, stitched together from old fabric stained with grease and burns. She had been surviving alone, fixing parts of the ship to make it livable. The bench, the blanket, the food, it was all her work. This ship was her home. "How long have you been here, Zira?" Leo asked. She paused, eyes flicking to the ceiling, as if trying to count. 3 turns, maybe 4. 4 years? Leo's eyebrows raised. "You've been hiding inside my ship for 4 years?" She nodded slowly. "You leave. I stay. I fix small things, lights, water, fans. I hide when big people come. You sat on a crate trying to understand. Why this ship? Why not escape or find help?" Zira's voice dropped to a whisper. "Slave ship, I run. They chase. I hide in your ship when no one look. No scanner can find me here. This ship is quiet, old, dead outside, safe inside." Leo stared at the walls. All these years he thought the ship was useless. But this girl had made it a shelter, a cage, and a hiding hole all in one. "Did anyone else know you're here?" he asked. "No, just me, only me." Leo sighed. "And now I've ruined it by showing up." A sound made both of them freeze again, a voice calling out from outside the ship. "Check that one. Looks like it had a power spark recently." Zira's face turned pale. She ran to a nearby panel and quickly pulled open a maintenance hatch. "Go," she whispered. "You go now." "I can't," Leo said. "They'll see me. I parked my bike right outside." Zira looked panicked. "They see me, I die, I go back, I can't go back." Leo didn't understand all the details, but he could feel her fear. It was real, desperate. "We need to hide," he said. "Come on." He followed her into the maintenance crawl space. It was dark and tight, wires brushing against their shoulders. They crawled silently, breathing slow. Footsteps echoed inside the ship now. Heavy boots, multiple people. "I think someone's been using this one," a rough voice called out. "Check inside." From their small crawl space, Leo could see shadows moving, light beams cutting across the floor. Shira pressed a finger to her lips. "They smell food. They look for me." Leo was confused. "Why would they want you?" She hesitated, then whispered, "My blood. It's not normal, rich, rare. Many species use it to make strong medicine. Expensive. Very expensive." Leo's mind raced. He had heard of alien species being hunted for organs, blood, even genetics. Zira wasn't just a runaway. She was a walking treasure chest to the wrong people, and now those people were on his ship. Suddenly, a hand reached down, grabbing the blanket near the bench. "She's been here," someone said. "Still warm," Leo whispered. "They're not leaving." Zira's eyes shone in the dim light. "You bring danger. Now they find me." "I didn't know," he replied. "But I'm not leaving you here." She looked shocked. "Why? You not sell me?" Leo looked directly into her eyes. "No, I help. Let's find a way out." Suddenly, a voice boomed closer. "Hey, the hatch is open. Someone's inside." Boots began rushing toward the hallway. Leo grabbed Zira's hand. There was no time. "Run." Stolen past. They ran. Through narrow maintenance tunnels, past flickering lights, over rusted pipes that echoed under their steps. Leo didn't know the layout as well as he thought. Zira had secretly rebuilt parts of the ship. Hidden ladders, secret doors, escape paths. She wasn't just hiding. She had turned the ship into a maze. Finally, they stopped behind a large wall panel in the ship's cargo bay. From there, they could hear the scavengers still shouting and searching, confused by the strange layout. "They don't find here," Zira whispered, panting. "I changed ship long ago. They get lost." Leo stared at her, amazed. "You rewired the whole thing?" She nodded, eyes scanning for danger. "I had time." They sat in silence for a moment. The tension in Leo's chest began to fade, but the questions didn't. "Zira," he said softly, "you said they were after your blood. Medicine, right?" She hesitated, then looked away. "I wasn't born free," she began slowly. "My kind. Made in lab." Leo blinked. "You mean you're a clone?" "No," she said. "Worse." She pulled up her sleeve. A strange glowing symbol was embedded under her skin. It wasn't a tattoo. It was a biomark, used by certain alien corporations to track living test subjects. I was created for testing. My species, not natural, mixed, grown. I escaped when fire broke out on ship. I ran into your ship in chaos. Door closed. Then, silence. Leo stared at her, speechless. She continued, voice shaking. "I don't know parents, no home, just numbers and needles. But I dream stars, freedom. I want real life. I want to be girl, not lab thing." Leo felt something tighten in his chest. He had met all kinds of aliens in his life, traders, pirates, warriors, but none like her. Zira wasn't just a runaway. She was a secret the galaxy wanted to erase. "You stayed in this old ship for 4 years and just to hide?" Zira nodded. "I fix, I learn, I survive. I wait for someone kind." Leo was quiet. He looked around at the broken panels, the patched systems, the small drawings she had pinned in the corners. Stars, people, little families, hopes she had never spoken aloud. No child should have grown up like this. "No one ever came to help?" he asked. "No," she said softly. "But now, you came." He looked at her again, thin, fragile, but her eyes held fire. "You're not a thing, Zira. You're alive. You're someone." She blinked quickly, trying to hide emotion. "Then why galaxy?" "Want me dead?" Leo stood up, angry now. Not at her, but at the people who had done this. "Because you're proof. Proof that some species don't care about life, they just want control. And someone like you can ruin their lives." Footsteps echoed again in the hallways. The scavengers were still searching. Leo took a breath. "I'll get you out of here," she looked up. "Why help me? I bring danger." "Because I was once lost too," Leo said. "No one helped me. I won't make that mistake again." A light on his wrist scanner beeped. "They're scanning for heat signatures now," he said. "We have 5 minutes, less." Zira's hands trembled slightly. "There is one way." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Tell me." "There is old cargo pod. Emergency eject. I fix it 2 years ago, hide it under storage floor. They not know." Leo nodded. "Then we run." But Zira stopped him. "Leo, if I go, will you come with me?" Leo looked into her eyes. She had no home, no family, no planet that would accept her. If he left her, she'd be caught or worse. "Yeah," he said finally. "I'm not letting you go alone." Zira gave the smallest smile he had ever seen. But behind them, in the shadows, a red light blinked. Someone had found the security feed. Someone was watching. And now, they were not just hunting Zira. They were hunting both of them. Junkyard hunt. The red light blinked again. Leo stared at it. Zira's expression turned cold with fear. They found us, she whispered. Security camera. I forgot it. Leo's blood ran cold. How many cameras are working? Only one, Zira replied, her voice shaking. But it's enough. Suddenly, a sharp voice echoed through the ship's old comm system. We saw you. Come out now, no one gets hurt. Leo stood frozen. Zira clenched her fists. The voice continued. We don't want the human, just the girl. Give her up and we walk away. Leo looked at her. Zira stared back, and for a second, she truly believed he might leave her, but he didn't move. Instead, Leo grabbed a metal rod from the floor. Come on. We get to the cargo pod. Now. They moved quickly, running through dark halls, lit only by flickering emergency lights. Zira led the way, turning down narrow maintenance shafts and hidden side corridors, roads only she knew. Outside, the junkyard came alive. 4 armed scavengers moved toward the ship. One scanned the hull with a glowing device. Heat trails. Fresh, they're moving inside. The others raised their blasters. We flushed them out. Inside the ship, Leo and Zira reached the cargo hold. The floor looked solid, but Zira knelt and pulled away a false panel, revealing a narrow tunnel under the storage crates. This way, she whispered. As they climbed down, heavy boots stomped. Above them. They're right above us, Leo said. Go faster. They crawled into the tunnel. Pipes dripped. Metal groaned. The space was tight, hot, and full of dust. But it led to the pod. Leo could hear the scavengers moving above, shouting, banging on walls, kicking open doors. Where is she? She's in this junk heap somewhere. Zira finally stopped. Here. Small round escape pod sat under old tarp, half covered in engine grease but still intact. Leo looked impressed. You fix this? Mostly, she said. 1 power cell missing, but we can launch if... Suddenly a bang above them. A metal vent crashed down, and one of the scavengers dropped into the crawl space. He saw them. There you are. He shouted, raising his weapon. Leo didn't think. He grabbed a wrench and swung hard. The weapon clattered to the ground. The scavenger groaned and fell back, stunned. Leo's hands were shaking. We need to go, now. But Zira was already inside, the pod, working fast. I need 30 seconds to start launch. Leo pulled the scavenger's weapon and covered the tunnel entrance. Shouts echoed down. More were coming. The pod hummed to life behind him. I don't want to kill anyone, Leo shouted into the darkness. But if you come closer... Blaster. Fire answered. He ducked. Sparks flew. Pipes burst. Zira screamed. It's ready! Leo jumped into the pod and slammed the hatch shut. Zira hit the launch button. 2, 1. The pod exploded upward from under the junkyard, a flaming trail behind it as it blasted through metal debris and out into the red sky. Outside, the scavengers stared in shock as the pod soared away. One of them cursed. They got out! Another growled. They won't go far. That pod's weak. We'll track them. Inside the pod. The walls rattled. Everything shook. Leo held Zira close, shielding her as the pod struggled to stay stable. But then... silence. Stars. Weightlessness. They had made it to the outer atmosphere. Shira looked out the small window. Her eyes filled with tears. I never thought I'd see sky again. Leo smiled, bruised but alive. This isn't over. But we're not theirs anymore. She looked at him. Then who do I belong to? Leo paused, then said quietly, No one. You belong to yourself. And in that moment, for the first time in her life, Zira felt free. Revealed by fire. The escape pod drifted low above the desert horizon, shaking with stress. It wasn't built for long travel. Warnings blinked across the small control panel. Leo stared at them, breathing hard. We're burning fuel fast, he said. It'll crash soon. Zira, seated beside him, didn't panic. I know a place. Old mining station, empty, hidden in rocks. Leo nodded. Show me. She pointed toward a ridge in the distance. There. It has shelter and power. I go there sometimes, when I dream of running. He guided the pod toward it, barely keeping it stable. But far behind them in the junkyard below, a small tracking beacon blinked red on a scavenger's scanner. "They're landing north," the scavenger growled. "We follow. And we finish it." 20 minutes later, the pod crash-landed hard in the sand. The impact threw dust and metal in all directions. Leo groaned, pushing open the hatch. His shoulder hurt. Zira helped him out, her face scratched but calm. The mining station was a large, silent structure, half buried in a rocky cliff. Rusted, forgotten, and lifeless. But to them, it was hope. They entered through a broken side door. Inside was a dark hall with old lights flickering weakly. Broken crates, empty tools. A cracked solar panel hummed above. Shira moved fast, reconnecting old systems. She remembered where everything was. "This was once mine too," she said softly, "when I was scared. I used to hide here before I made the ship my home." Leo sat down, breathing hard. "You've been surviving alone for years, haven't you?" She nodded. "I always thought no one would care if I died." Leo looked at her. That's not true anymore. But outside, trouble was already coming. Back at the junkyard, the scavenger leader, a scar-faced man named Torvin, tightened his grip on his rifle. "I don't care what she's worth," he growled. "She's property. She ran. We bring her. Back dead or alive." They mounted their hovercrafts and sped north. That night Leo rested inside the old mining station. Shira brought him water from a recycled tank. He winced as she wrapped his shoulder in cloth. "You're not used to pain?" she asked. Leo chuckled. "Not like this." "You helped me," she said, "even when you didn't have to." "You're not a problem," Leo replied. "You're a person. You were just in the wrong place, born to the wrong people." Zira looked down. No one ever said that before. Just then, a sharp buzzing alarm rang from the motion scanner she had set near the door. Her face turned pale. "They found us." Leo stood. "Can we run?" She shook her head. "No, not fast enough." "We fight then," he said. Shira hesitated. "I don't want to kill." "You don't have to," he said. "Just stay close." Minutes later, Torvin's team arrived, weapons ready. They moved silently through the dark entrance, scanning every shadow. Inside, Zira triggered a trap she had rigged years ago, a burst of gas and sparks that blinded two men. Leo leaped out, swinging a steel bar. One scavenger fell. Another fired wildly. But Torvin wasn't like the others. He moved fast, smart. He saw Zira behind a stack of crates and fired a flare into the ceiling. Fire burst out instantly. Old wiring caught flame. Heat spread fast. Smoke filled the air. "Now, you burn," Torvin shouted. Leo grabbed Zira's hand. "We need to run. Now." The fire roared around them. Flames licked the walls. Metal cracked and groaned. Zira choked on the smoke, falling to her knees. Leo lifted her. "I'm not leaving. You." He found the back tunnel, one he hadn't noticed before. A narrow shaft that led out to the desert behind. They crawled through just as the station exploded behind them. Flames lit up the sky, and from the wreckage only one figure rose. Torvin, burned, angry, and still hunting. Later that night, they reached a rocky cliff far from the fire. Shira lay on the ground, her arm burned. Leo cleaned the wound as best he could. She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Why do you keep saving me?" Leo looked at the stars, then at her. "Because no one saved me. I know how that feels." She touched his hand softly, and for the first time, her voice no longer shook. "Then I won't run alone anymore. Not just a refugee." The desert was quiet again. Leo sat near a low fire, flames flickering softly. Zira lay under a thermal blanket, breathing slow. Her wounds were healing, but her mind, still haunted. She hadn't spoken much since the explosion. Leo looked at the stars. They were beautiful, but distant. Just like her past. Just like the truth. Hours earlier. After escaping the burning station, Leo had pulled out a medical scanner from the crashed pod's emergency kit. Zira was unconscious, and he needed to make sure she was stable. He connected the scanner to her arm, but what he saw made his hand stop. Her blood wasn't normal, not even close. It had double helix patterns, and triple strands glowing in deep green pulses. Her cells regenerated rapidly, stronger than anything he had seen. Classified markers flashed on the scanner, military-grade codes, encrypted by galactic research facilities. Leo's eyes widened. "This isn't just medicine," he muttered. "This is bioweapon-level engineering." Now Zira opened her eyes. Leo gently handed her water. "How do you feel?" She sipped quietly. "Like I still don't belong anywhere." He paused. "Your blood, I ran a scan." Her hands trembled. "I know what it says." "You do?" She nodded slowly. "That I'm a mistake, a secret, a weapon built in shadows." Leo leaned forward. "You were made by someone?" She nodded again. "A lab ship called Seraph 9. They mixed DNA from 6 species, strongest traits from each: strength, healing, resistance, memory." "Why?" They said, "To make the perfect scout for uncharted planets." I was test subject 37, but I wasn't stable. My emotions were too strong, I felt too much. They said I wasn't useful. So, they left me. Leo's fists clenched. "They made you feel like a mistake, but you're not. You're alive. You survived." She looked at him. "You don't understand. If anyone learns I'm alive, I'm not just hunted. I'm wanted. By entire governments. What's inside me can heal millions or destroy them." Leo sat back, trying to process it all. Shira wasn't just a girl in hiding, she was a living miracle. Or a galactic threat, or both. Meanwhile, Torvin stood in the ash of the mining station, burns across his arms. One of his men handed him a broken lens chip. Found it in the rubble. Human dropped it. Torvin connected it to his device. The blood scan from Leo's med scanner appeared. Torvin's eyes gleamed. "We're not chasing a refugee," he growled. "We're chasing a weapon that breathes." He opened a secure line. "This is Hunter Torvin. I'm activating code Black Sigma. Subject 37 is alive." The reply came cold and immediate. "Don't fail. This goes beyond credits. This is control." Back in the desert, Leo and Zira now hid in a deep canyon far from any scanners. But even here, Zira didn't feel safe. "I can't keep running," she said. "They'll find me again." "Then we stop hiding," Leo replied. "We find out who made you and we take them down." She looked shocked. "You'd go that far? For me?" "I'd go further," Leo said. "Because you're not just running from your past. You're running from what others want to do with your future." A small silence passed. Then Zira reached into her bag and pulled out a small, cracked crystal data chip. "This is all I have. Files I stole before I escaped. I couldn't read them, but maybe you can." Leo plugged it into his wrist device. Old code blinked to life. Research logs, genetic patterns, lab names, and one line repeated again and again: "Do not let subject 37 reproduce." Leo frowned. Why would they care about that? Zira stared into the fire, voice hollow. "Because I'm not sterile." Leo looked at her, and in that moment he understood the real reason they were hunting her. They didn't just want to harvest her. They were afraid of what would happen if she ever passed on what she was. One ship, one home. The desert winds howled again. Leo stood at the edge of the canyon, looking out at the glowing sky. Dawn was breaking, but this sunrise didn't bring peace. It brought war. Behind him, Zira stood quietly, watching him. Her pale blue skin shimmered faintly in the low light. She was no longer just a scared girl hiding in shadows. Her eyes now held the weight of truth. They both knew what was coming. "They found us, didn't they?" she asked softly. Leo nodded. Their ship entered orbit 20 minutes ago. Military grade. Not scavengers this time. Zira exhaled slowly. Then it's the end. No, Leo said. It's the beginning. 1. A plan written in fire. Leo moved quickly through the small camp they had built. The damaged escape pod, half buried in sand, had been turned into a generator. He used it to power up a signal amplifier he salvaged from the mining station's ruins. Zira helped him silently, feeding power cells into the unit. What are we doing? She asked. We're sending a message, Leo said. Across the stars. To who? Leo looked her straight in the eye. To the one person who helped me when I had nothing. He owes me, and he has a ship that can outrun anything. Zira looked unsure. You trust him? No. But I trust his greed. They activated the signal. Coordinates. Emergency codes. Proof of who Zira was and what was chasing her. Now, they waited. The arrival of the Black Falcon. 1 hour later, the sky broke open. A sleek black warship tore through the clouds like a blade of fire. The Black Falcon. A pirate vessel, armed to the teeth, fast as lightning and impossible to track. It landed hard beside the canyon. A ramp lowered. From the smoke walked out a tall, scarred man with cybernetic eyes. Captain Rivek. He looked at Leo with a crooked grin. You still know how to owe me, huh? Leo smirked. Just like old times. Then Rivek saw Zira. His smile faded. You brought her? She's the reason they're coming, Leo replied. But she's also the reason we need to run. Rivek walked slowly toward her. Zira stood still, chin high. She didn't flinch. You're the girl from Seraph 9, Rivek muttered. They said the whole lab was destroyed, said none survived. I did, Zira said, voice steady. Rivek looked impressed. You're worth more than 5 planets, and I don't mean that kindly. She's not for sale, Leo growled. Rivek studied Leo, then chuckled. Still soft, fine, I'll fly you out. But once we hit deep space, you're on your own. Leo nodded. Deal. 3. The sky burns. Just as they prepared to board, missiles fell from above. The ground shook. The enemy ship, black and massive, had begun its descent. It fired warning shots across the canyon, a signal to surrender. Troops followed, armored soldiers, in silver suits, plasma rifles, scanners. They weren't scavengers. They were Galactic Retrieval Division, a secret military force used to recover lost assets. And they weren't here to negotiate. Leo, Zira shouted as blasts tore through the rocks. Leo pulled her behind a metal wall. Rivek yelled, We have 5 minutes before they surround us. Zira looked at the Falcon. We won't make it. To the ship. Leo stared at the escape pod. We're not taking the ship. What? He rushed to the pod, opened the panel Zira once used to hide the data chip. Inside was a core, part of the ship's memory unit. It had copies of the Seraph 9, lab records stolen by Zira years ago. Leo held it up. If they catch you, they'll destroy this. And you. Zira's eyes widened. You're not going to give it to them? No, he said. I'm going to upload it. Leo connected the core to the amplifier and started transmitting everything to the open galactic net. Genetic logs, crimes, names of scientists, funding sources, secret buyers. He looked at Zira. Once this is out there, they can't hide it. You'll never be just a runaway again. You'll be the truth. Zira hesitated, then reached out and pressed send. The amplifier glowed. Data flew across stars, beyond borders, beyond governments, too fast to stop. The military knew what had happened. They changed tactics. Kill them both, their leader ordered. Destroy the Falcon. No survivors. Soldiers swarmed the canyon. Leo and Zira ran, dodging blasts. Rivek's crew fought back hard, covering their escape. But the enemy had numbers. A blast hit Leo in the leg. He fell hard. Leo, Zira screamed, rushing to him. I'm fine, he grunted. Go, but she refused to leave him. As soldiers closed in, something in Zira changed. Her body glowed. Her veins lit green. Her skin shimmered. and her eyes, once soft, burned with fire. She stepped forward. No more running. Zira screamed, unleashing a wave of energy. A burst of bioelectric power spread across the canyon. The shockwave threw soldiers off their feet. Weapons malfunctioned. Lights died. Leo watched in awe. She wasn't a test subject. She was evolution, and she chose to protect. Hours later, the Falcon soared through hyperspace. The battle was over. The truth was out. The military had failed. Shira stood by the window, watching stars stretch into light. Leo limped up beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "They won't chase me now." "No. But they'll talk about you. All of them." "I don't care anymore," she whispered. "Because I'm not a lab number now. I'm not 37. Leo smiled. "Then who are you?" She looked at him, eyes warm. "I'm just Zira, a girl with a home." He paused. "Where is that?" She pointed to the stars, then to his chest. "With you." Weeks later, a new ship flew through an uncharted sector, sleek, fast, quiet, its name painted across the side, Haven. Inside, Leo sat at the pilot seat. Zira beside him. They weren't running anymore, they were exploring, helping others, saving people who were once like them, and no matter what galaxy they entered, no one could take away what they had built. One ship, one story, one home, together.